I'm sharing with you how to make perfect, soft and fluffy banana bread. It's one of my go-tos when I have a few bananas that are looking a little brown sitting in my kitchen. Enjoy it fresh, or it's perfect toasted with a little butter for breakfast in the morning. Welcome to Recipes by Karina, where I share with you how to make classic and simply delicious recipes. Make sure to subscribe or follow my page for a new recipe each week. To start, in a medium-sized bowl, measure out the flour. We'll need 2 cups or 250 grams. You'll notice I give the recipe amounts in cups, grams and ounces, so no matter where you live in the world, this recipe should be easy enough to follow. If you would like the full recipe for this banana bread, it will be on my website as well as the full measurements listed in the description box below. Next, for the dry ingredients, we'll need 1 teaspoon of baking soda and a generous pinch of salt to round out the flavours. We're using baking soda in this recipe instead of baking powder because we're adding a bit of acid with the banana and also brown sugar, which will activate the baking soda and give this banana bread the perfect light and fluffy texture. Make sure you get this bit right and don't mistake just using baking powder, as you won't get the desired result. Give the dry ingredients a quick mix together just to make sure they are well combined, and set it to the side while we work on the wet ingredients. Let me know in the comments below what your favourite things to bake with bananas are. I have the most delicious banana cake recipe with brown sugar buttercream, but it does take a little longer to make, so most of the time my go-to will be this banana bread. In a smaller bowl, we're going to add our bananas. You'll need 3 medium-sized bananas or 4 small bananas. There's a bit of a debate about what bananas should look like if you're using them in baking. My advice is, if you're starting to smell them as you walk into your kitchen, they're pretty much perfect. You don't want them too far gone, but you do want them overripe, as this way they are so much sweeter and stronger in flavour, which is perfect for your banana bread or banana cake. Remove the bananas from their skin and add them to the bowl. Using a fork or potato masher, mash the bananas to your liking. You can leave them a little chunky if you want pieces of banana in your bread, or continue until they are pretty much smooth, so you're just getting the flavour and none of the texture. I like it somewhere in the middle. This will make a standard size loaf in a 9x5 or 23x13 loaf pan. This is an easy recipe to double if you have more bananas to use up, or you want to make a larger batch of baking. The banana bread will last for a few days in an airtight container, but like with all baking, it's best eaten fresh the day you make it. I'll usually keep any brown bananas I have in the freezer, meaning anytime I feel like baking, I have some on hand. It's a great way to make sure you're not wasting them. To the mashed banana, crack in 2 medium-sized good quality eggs. You want to make sure these are at room temp, so if you keep them in the fridge, just remove them about 30 minutes to an hour before you start baking. The eggs are going to bind the ingredients together while the bread bakes, as well as provide some lift so you get the perfect light and airy texture. We're going to need half a cup of brown sugar to sweeten everything up. The bananas are pretty sweet, so I think half a cup is about the perfect measurement. Brown sugar is best here, the caramel flavour just works so well with the banana, but if you don't have any on hand, white granulated sugar will work. Add the sugar to the mixing bowl with the mashed bananas and eggs. One of the reasons I really love this recipe is it's an easy throw together one. I've separated out the dry and wet ingredients in different bowls, but you could easily mix together all the wet ingredients first and just add the flour, baking soda and salt on top. It only takes a few minutes to whip together and then straight into the oven, so if you're not super keen on baking, this is a great recipe to try. Add a teaspoon of vanilla for flavour along with 1/3 of a cup of oil. I would say oil works the best in this banana bread. It gives that soft texture as well as keeps the moisture levels up in the bread, rather than that crumbly cakey texture that you get more often with butter. Of course you can substitute one for the other if you would prefer. Just use 1/3 cup of melted butter instead. For the oil, you want to use a neutral oil, something with not a lot of flavour, so stay away from something like olive oil. Add this to the mixing bowl. Another bonus with the oil, there's no need for creaming it, so it's usually much faster. Using the same fork that we mashed the bananas with, mix the wet ingredients together until well combined. This is also the point where you can add anything else you would like. Chocolate chips or chunks work so well in my opinion, but there's also walnuts for a bit of texture. I'm leaving mine as is for today. Pour the wet ingredients into the bowl with the dry ingredients, and using a wooden spoon, fold the batter together until smooth. Make sure not to overmix here, we don't want to develop the gluten in the flour. I will usually stop just as long as I no longer see any dry flour patches in the batter and there are no large lumps. Pour the banana bread batter into a greased and lined loaf tin and bake in a 180°C or 350°F oven for about 50 minutes or until it springs back when pressed. The top of the banana bread shouldn't get too dark. Make sure to bake it in the middle of your oven, but you can cover it with a little foil in the last 20 minutes of baking if you would like. Leave it to cool in the loaf pan for about 10 minutes before transferring it to a wire rack to cool completely. Like I said earlier, with all baking, this banana bread is best on the day you bake it, but it's also just as good toasted the next morning for breakfast. I hope you give this recipe a try. Don't forget to share a picture with me on Facebook or Instagram. My links are below. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below and I will get back to you. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you on my next video.